Whoa! Did you know that DC Comics asked the Final Fantasy artist Tetsuya Nomura to design his own version of Batman? They made a figure of it. Look at that. He looks like a Power Ranger from hell. He looks like they squeezed Kamen Rider out of Rinsler's asshole in the Tron grid. But did you know that some people collect things that aren't figures? That's right, some people out there collect music. Physical, tangible music.
Episode 02. Music.
Music was starting to go the digital direction, but what people are learning is that fans, super fans, collectors of stuff, they want physical goods. If there's something that they're a huge fan of, they're going to want to own it in their hands. So what you've seen is a lot of collectability has happened in the world of music in terms of records, vinyl. Vinyl was at its most best-selling since I think the early 90s, just this past month. So, no, past year, whatever, time, unit of measurement of time, it doesn't matter. I'm only recently in the vinyl record kind of game. And actually what got me into the whole thing was this record right here. Lazaretto, Jack White. It was the gimmicks of this album that sold me. The fact that you, if you spin it on a turntable, you can see an angel, like a little hologram of an angel in the middle there, spinning as the record goes. That had never been done before. You have to put the needle on the inside of the record for it to play outward, to play the music. Never seen that before. It had a locked groove that would play the same sound. There were hidden songs in the label. There were hidden songs in the label that you couldn't hear unless you actually pressed the needle to the label. Stuff like that. It was just really interesting to me, so it got me into wanting to try it out. And around the same time, my friend Garrett bought me a record player for my birthday, and it was just synergy. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I gotta put that on and listen to it. So that got me into checking out cool collectible records. I don't buy all my music that way, but when it's something cool and collectible and gimmicky, like, you know, gimmicky is referred to as a bad term sometimes, but I don't think gimmicky is wrong if it's really fun. You know what I mean? So anyway, I got lots of gimmicky stuff here. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out now, though, that they wouldn't have released before. For example, this one I got right up front is Streets of Rage. This was an awesome Sega Genesis game. As you could see, it's on a blood red album. It looks amazing. There's like prints that it comes with, but what's great is that they're going to the original source materials. They're getting the straight off the board, the sounds direct. It sounds amazing, you know, and this is stuff that we wouldn't have gotten in previous years, but because of the collectability of albums like this now, you're starting to see more of. And this same company, Data, they distribute their stuff through Mondo, and they also put out the Shenmue soundtrack. I think they're doing Streets of Rage 2, Shinobi, stuff like that. You got to check those out. On the subject of Mondo, Mondo is a company that some of you guys might know. They put out a lot of art prints and things like that. They got into the vinyl business in the past year or two, and we got all kinds of cool collectible stuff. Like, here's another one, Aliens, from the movie Aliens. You might have heard about it. James Cameron's sequel to the first one. Replace that S with a $, and you know what James Cameron's all about. Cash, baby. And this is a really cool collectible little package here. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but it's actually not black. It's a very, very dark blue. It's almost like it's the flesh or the armor, whatever you want to say, of the alien warrior from that movie. And the second disc is yellow and black, which is kind of reminiscent of the power loader from that movie. If you haven't seen it, you don't know what the power loader is. I'm not going to spoil it and tell you. Some people say black vinyl has a better sound quality and a better durability. That might be true. I know people are going to say that in the comments, but I just don't care. I get these because I think they're cool and fun collectibles, and I play them and they sound great. I don't give a shit. Amber is the color of your energy. Whoa! One of my favorite movies of all time, Home Alone. Now, what makes this album so cool is, it's got a lot of different layers to it, to the presentation. Again, we use the word gimmick, I use the word amazing. So, it looks like a house. You know, the house lights are on. It's the part of the movie where Kevin is making it look like there's a lot of people at home to keep the burglars out, but it's actually like mannequins and stuff that he's playing with. You know what I'm talking about, Kevin McAllister's little tricks, whatever. But anyway, what happens is, okay, the lights are on, right? You can pull the record out. Oh, what's up? And you get to see what's going on inside the house. The lights are on and all that. Kevin McAllister is playing around right here, but you could flip it over. Oh, the lights are out. The house is dim, and you could slide it back in. No one is home after all. Now this next one is just between you and me. It's very special to me. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, look at that. Oh, looks good enough to eat. I've got a golden record. A lot of the stuff that I have is newer. I wanted to talk to somebody who had a little bit older collection, a little more expertise on the subject. So there was no one better for that task than my own father. We're gonna talk to him right now.
Hey Rocco, how you doing?
Bubble music.
I've built a pretty comprehensive record and music collection over the years. My first real love was Jan and Dean and hearing Surf City for the first time. And they were my heroes, and that's what really got me into music. Then the Beatles came.
Oh yeah.
And that...
Those guys.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, those guys. Check those, by the way, check them out, BitTorrent. Those guys rule. You might want to hear them.
Yeah, if you haven't heard anything by them, you're going to want to. Invited Paul and Linda McCartney to my wedding. Paul's secretary did send an RSVP, and that was really sweet that she did that. And there's the actual RSVP right there. And it was very nice. This is the first one I ever owned, and I got it for Christmas from an aunt. This is Beatles Yesterday and Today. The original album cover was different than this. And this was the original album cover. And this is famously known as the Beatles Butcher cover. And this is, of all records, this is the Holy Grail. Now, what they did is it was released, and this is really the first time the Beatles really posed or had something to do with an American album cover. Because, you know, for the most part, they would record, they would do their albums in England, and then the master recordings would be sent to the United States, and the United States would do whatever they wanted with them. So this was their first real, you know, planned album cover for the United States. Record, you know, stores did not want this kind of product in their stores. Someone came up with a brilliant idea of just slapping this cover over the old
like a
cover.
big sticker, right?
Well, kind of like a big sticker, but it wasn't a sticker. It was, you know, glued. Well, it was glued on.
Okay.
So people started to realize as time went on that they could see kind of like over in this white spot here, they could see Ringo's head, you know, because and they were saying like something's under there. So they began to peel off the covers, and the easiest way to do that was to steam it off, and they would put it over a steaming pot of boiling water, and they would peel it off, and that's why you could tell this was peeled off.
Yeah.
And I didn't peel it off. I found this at I was at some girl's house, and it was just sitting there in a stack of albums, and I was like, hey, can I have this? And she said, well, yeah, sure, I guess. I don't care. So this is Rodney Dangerfield came up with a song called Rappin' Rodney.
I played hide and seek when I was
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Rappin' Rodney.
No respect. No respect.
I called Suicide Hotline. They put me on hold. No respect. Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. That's a unique. This was something I remember you calling me saying, Dad, we just found a video on YouTube that had Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks doing a rap called City of Crime
We are here, let's state it clear.
from the movie Dragnet. And you posted it online. You thought it was just the funniest thing, the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so I one-upped you and I said, well, I have it. And your reply was, okay, you really do have a lot of shit. A lot of crap. You have a lot of crap, I think those are your words. Who wouldn't want to hear the Fat Boys sing The Twist with Chubby Checker?
Oh, special guest, Chubby Checker. Nice.
Well, no, with stupid deaf vocals.
Oh, by Chubby Checker.
Yeah, because you need stupid deaf vocals. Back in the 60s, you had these cereal boxes that used to give you so many different things. And one of them was records. And you'd cut out from the cereal box.
Yeah.
You'd cut the cereal box out and you'd have a record. And so the Monkees, it being that it's their 50th anniversary, reproduced them.
So these are parts of a cereal box that would actually play.
Right. And here they are. And see.
Wow.
And they're duplications, of course, but...
Yeah, but they're cardboard and they would actually play a song?
Yeah, and I played it. And I did play them.
Yeah.
And it sounds just like crap. I mean, it sounded horrible. This is $1 Billion Babies. This was always cool without Alice Cooper. $1 Billion Babies. And I did actually cut this open. It was supposed to be like that.
Oh.
This was made to look like a wallet.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and then the money clip.
Yeah. Wow. It makes the whole thing an experience. That's what.
Right. That's really cool. This was Schools Out, and it's supposed to be, and it folds out.
Yeah.
Like to be a school desk.
Yeah.
And if you see it, came like that. So.
Yeah.
And then you opened it up, and there was a pair of girls' underwear inside the desk. Now, they had to recall. See, and then you look here. And this is inside the desk.
Yeah.
See? Oh, here, inside the desk.
Yeah.
And in the girls' underwear also. And what happened though was when it first came out, they found that it was highly flammable.
The underwear, or the whole thing?
No, the underwear.
Some of the now I noticed in the back, you might be able to see it in the background, but you have 2 Beatles vinyl box sets.
Right.
You have the Beatles and the Beatles in mono. Now, the Beatles in mono, that was a big thing because they apparently mixed the albums originally, not in stereo. They would work on it in mono, and then when they were done, right, they would go, okay, cool, album's mixed. Let the engineers make a stereo version. They would leave, right?
Yeah, and how that worked, and it used to really frustrate them, is they would go and painstakingly mix the album exactly how they wanted it to sound in monaural, because not a lot of people had stereos either back then, but it just, a lot of people say monaural or mono is really the proper way to listen to things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not that hardcore about that.
Right, but nonetheless, they spent months or weeks and months mixing these albums in mono, and then they would be done with the album, and then some schmo in the control booth, okay, make the stereo mix, and they would just do it like in 3 hours. In 3 hours they would remix it in stereo, and it would sound completely different than what the Beatles had intended it to sound. But that's, back then these artists, didn't have a lot of control. Yeah. I mean, the Beatles had a lot of clout.
Yeah, but that wasn't such a big deal back then. It was kind of like, we're all making stuff. Well, whatever. It wasn't like the artist wasn't as...
Right. As involved like that. So the stereo recordings, were haphazardly mixed. Though I liked them and I grew up with them. Yeah. But, true stereo isn't having a vocal on this side and all the other music on the other side. Yeah. That's now not how it's supposed to sound. Yeah. But that's how they did it.
Yeah. It really is interesting, though, if you've never heard that. because I got a couple of the mono versions of the records, and it's really interesting. Some of them really are different. I want to say I think it was the White Album was very. It's almost like you have to have both versions to hear it. Like there's parts that are missing on the stereo version and vice versa.
Right.
And
This was mixed differently.
Yeah.
You know?
It's definitely something people weren't aware of back then.
Right.
But now, we have a culture. I think because of the internet has helped a lot, is that we have so much you mentioned even in the past when CDs started to come out, they put out, if you remember, you do remember, you've told me about this. They put Beatles albums on CD right away, and they were the mono mixes.
Right.
And people were like, what the hell? I bought CDs.
I was so pissed off.
It should be in stereo. It's because because of the internet, we now have a culture of, you can be a mega fanboy about stuff, and you can go online and read about, did you know the mono mixes are the true mixes of these albums? It kind of allows everyone to be in tune with the super fan. Right. Before, in the 80s, 90s, CDs come out, it's like, hey, I paid all this money, this better be stereo. And I remember even with movies in the late 90s, early 2000s, I worked at a video store, and I remember people coming in going, yo, what's with all the black bars on the top of the screen? What's going on here? Yeah. And even now, that's almost gone because people know, you're supposed to see it widescreen. Right. A movie put in a 4:3 is a joke at this point. And it's because now we all have the ability to connect to super fans and know, that's the way to do it.
But when you get a
Never
movie,
had that before.
Right. But when you get a movie and it was letterbox, it was like, it doesn't fill up the screen.
Yeah.
You'd be pissed off.
Come on, I paid for this TV. It's got to fill up the screen.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not quite like that anymore. Yeah. People now know.
Right.
People can be, there's a lot more, it's the age of the connoisseur. Anybody, you're not just half into albums now. You go on the internet and by connecting to other super fans, you become one yourself.
Right.
Thank you,
Rocco,
showing all this stuff.
Yeah, maybe next time I can talk to you about all the other junk that I have. My comics, my DVDs.
I don't know if YouTube has enough space to talk about all that stuff.
No, maybe not.
That upload might be a little too big.
Yeah, and I don't. The last thing I want to do is, clog up YouTube.
That's true. They don't need that.
No, they don't need that.
I just realized I had a whole Jimmy Buffett skit I was going to do with this fucking hat at the beginning, and I forgot to do it. Fuck! Alright, last week we asked you to email us, blindbox@mega64.com. What kind of collections do you have? What kind of weird collectibles do you have lying around that you wanted to show? And just remember, you can email us at that address anytime. We'll show it on next month's show, whatever. Anyway, we got some great emails this last time. This first one is from Jacqueline K. She made a figure, I guess, I don't know if she created it or someone did, but she has it, a figure of the new Batman. Now, the new Batman was a Mega64 video we did a couple years back. I guess a lot of aspects of that video are in the new Batman vs. Superman. I don't know, I haven't seen it. But, wow, she made or acquired, whatever, an action figure of that character that we made up in our Mega64 video. That's really cool. Wow. Jacqueline, if you want to make another one, we'll put that in the Mega64 office. It will be enshrined forever, worshipped even. And we might even send one to Warner Brothers, see when they're going to send us that royalty check. He wears like a trench coat or something in this movie, right? Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Blind Box. Next month's episode, I think, is going to be about video games. That's right, game collection. What kind of game collection you got? Do you have a weird collection? Do you have something that's super rare or something you cherish? Or maybe you got something signed or something weird. I don't know, something fucked up. Whatever. Send it to blindbox@mega64.com. Email us, and we'll see what happens. We'll feature it, or we won't, or it could go either way. It's a roll of the dice. Thank you for watching this episode, and now we're going to end on a Jimmy Buffett tribute that I promised at the beginning because I fucked up. Play it!